and chain train. Good boy there, that's good. And then stretch him down a little bit longer. Slow the rhythm a little bit. And lower and lengthen the touch. Yeah, right there, right there. Is that giving an okay feeling right here? There he hollowed a little bit, right? So eyes up, stretch up. Good. Really hug him gently with your leg and try to squeeze his spine longer and develop just a little more swing, hang time. Good. Little brush with the whip there. Good. Excellent. That's nice. And then straight ahead and a shoulder in left. You can put it back together now. Is that harder to keep him in this shoulder? And it looks like maybe he wants to fall on that right shoulder a little bit. So keep the neck pretty straight and ride the shoulder slightly on a diagonal line. Look on the diagonal. Good. And then go back to your shoulder in. Good. Then you might do a step or two of the diagonal. Good. And then same thing on the next long side. Your diagonal line can be super shallow. You may only just end up on a few feet in, and then back to your shoulder in. Good. And then a slight diagonal again. And then a slight shoulder forward. Good. And then on a circle, and maybe come back down to this end where the arena's a little bit more level. Good. Very nice there. Very nice. And now let's go back to a little bit more stretchy work. Only just that it feels connected to you. I don't want it to curl up too much, but to find a slightly slower rhythm where you feel he's kind of pushing off the hind leg each stride, but not. Yeah, very nice there. Good. Excellent. And then lower the neck a little bit more. Very good there. That really looks nice in the rhythm on your seat. Good. And then come on in. And let's just we'll give him a break here in just a moment, but let's just do a diagonal of lengthening the stride. Do one more of those. So with him, I think the goal is to, what it looks like to me is happening, and here, let the walk slow down. He's a little lateral there. Slow the rhythm. Tilt and lower the neck. Really find that forebeat. Might have to be a little extra slow at first. Just supple his shoulders, tiny little bend and soften. Good. Just lowering the neck, trying to get the shoulder really. That's it. Good job. Oh, you could just halt here for a second. So he looks like it looks like the overall training is coming along really well. I want to do a little bit of work on that walk. But the thing that I think is tricky about him right now is he's always been a horse that, you know, you have to push a little bit forward, right? But again, with him, you can't just go forward. And what I'm starting to see a little bit of is him looking a little uneven behind. And I could see it when we first started out, and you were trying to get him to connect more by really riding him really forward. I've always just seen a little bit of weakness in the right hind, and it was starting to look a little more pronounced. And but when he slowed down and worked more with the transitions, the shoulder in, and then went to the stretch, and then picked him back up in the stretch and picked him back up, then he looked totally even. And so I think it's just still the weaker hind leg. And you had mentioned that you had kind of felt like there was something like a little bit of that going on with him.
Yeah,
too.
Definitely stronger on the
Yeah, and so I think he needs to do, keep doing strengthening work where he stays really even behind. So, so trying to get him feeling more connected through shoulder in, transition work. And then what I was curious about is once you got him doing some shoulder ins, doing some transitions, and then got a really nice stretch there, and it just looked totally even. Then when you rode him really forward in the lengthening, it showed up again. The unevenness did. So I think being kind of careful about not pushing him to that point.
where it feels like he's not steady.
Yeah, and also because, you know, this is just a little bit the breed and the genetics. Even before he gets a little bit uneven behind, he gets out behind, and he goes forward like that. Whereas when you slowed down, you know, different than Willie, yeah, he was like that going forward. Whereas when he slowed down, to me, like I really liked it here when you were stretching, and he started to look like a little more cadence and swingy, and then his hind leg really came through and stepped through nicely. So I think it may be almost mechanical that when he gets too far out behind himself, he just starts kind of swimming back there.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, so I think that's what I would be focusing on with the trot work. It's just like playing with the range a little bit, but you can't go as forward as with Willie. So let's just work on this walk for a moment and make sure that he's staying clean with that, because that's a little bit tricky with him too. So the key is going to be to get his neck relaxing down and getting a soft feeling in the shoulders. Good. That's the idea. Good. Excellent. And then just kind of nudge him forward ever so gently, almost like with your big toe. Almost like you're just trying to nudge his elbows into a slightly longer step, but not even really thinking about the hind leg too much. And then if he gets too horribly lazy, just trot forward there for like 3 steps. Just trot. Tap with the whip. Just make it down. Good. And then walk again. Good. And then same thing. Get the neck down. Not too much leg. Lengthen the neck. Good. Just supple the shoulders. Excellent. That's it. You can't use too much leg. So if he starts fussing around like right there, just trot on a few steps. Good. And then just walk. Good. Same thing. He has to learn to do it without using too much leg, because a lot of too much leg in the walk will make it worse than the lateral tendency gets worse. Good. Good. You can brush with the whip too. It's almost good. A better aid for this type of horse than the leg in the walk. Good. That's it. Good. Nice. Looks like he's just starting to relax. Now just give him a little bump when he does that, when he roots down, and pick up the contact just enough that he he's still working in connection and not just screwing around. And give him one sharp kick with the, or not too sharp, yeah, and then just pull. There you go, good job. Good job. And then up to trot. Good. Good. And let's go back to the stretch down circle, but I mean, asking of his hind leg to come under. So make it jump a little quicker under there. Good. Excellent. Excellent. That makes a huge difference. Good. And think of your shoulder in again. Yeah, I think he just gets sloppy with how he uses his hind leg because he really can adjust it. Good. Yeah, good boy. Good. And then a trot, walk, trot transition. Good, 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 good. And straight ahead and shoulder in left. And work towards a little bit of renvers right. Excellent, excellent, nice. Very nice. Good. And just play with the half steps a tiny bit as you come into the short side there. Just keep it really playful and easy, not too much pressure. Just talk them through it. And then forward, back to your shoulder in renvers. Take that right shoulder off the track and look slightly and almost like you're gonna, no, that's too much nose right. Yeah, that's it. Almost like you're gonna ride that diagonal line. And then make a 20-meter circle and counterbend a little bit and bring that right shoulder around off your right leg. Yeah, don't have to bend the neck too much. Just get that right shoulder off. Right leg, good. Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it. Good. Good. And then just walk and lower your left hand. And now bring that right hip to the shoulder. But now make the turn a little bit less dramatic. And now just get a nice connection to your left ring. Focus on that connection to your left ring. Not getting him bend, but getting him off that shoulder. Get a good feeling of getting the shoulder into your left ring. Good. Good. And then change the bend and get the shoulder into your right ring. Probably be really easy. Yeah. But really straighten the neck. Good. You had control of the right shoulder a moment ago, so gonna take some of that. Yeah, that's it. Take some of that with you. Good. And now take the shoulders into the left rein again. Good job. And as straight a neck as possible. Beautiful. And then bring that shoulder around and spiral in a little bit. Good. Really good. Keeping that neck fairly straight. Super there. Good job. Good. Exactly. And then leg yield back out. And then back up to trot and up to canter. And work on that right shoulder. And just straight ahead. Straighten the neck, straighten the neck. Yeah, good, good. Straight ahead if you can. Good job. And change rein. Let's go the other way and get that right shoulder underneath you. Good, and just straight ahead, eyes up, stretch up tall like you can. Good, push the bit a quarter inch forward in his mouth so that when you ask him to go, there's like, he feels like, oh, there's a space out in front of me that I can go to. So push that bit a quarter